This is a huge crowd. Looking beautiful people. Um, Last year, Plymouth County Jail increased in the second semester of the year the amount of beds to cage immigrants. Last year, a new immigration court was open in Chelmsford, Massachusetts. Usually, immigration courts have 8, 9, even 10 immigration judges. Chelmsford Immigration Court has, when it opened, over 14 judges. Biden was the president. When we're talking about due process in the context of what we understand as due process, right? You have the right to an attorney as, you know, if you are charged with a crime, if you cannot afford one. You're gonna be judged and you're gonna be in front of a jury of your peers, whatever that means. I want to invite you today to understand a tiny bit more about the immigration system and that we are experiencing now is just extremely bad government piggybacking out of other governments that were a disaster in immigration. And we need to be really clear about that, because if not, we're tricking ourselves. Family separation happened way before Trump and will keep happening after Trump if we don't change the things that we're doing, how we're doing it, and when we're doing it. I understand that we're pissed. I understand that many times us being pissed has a name and last name. But I want to invite you today to understand that you being pissed has to be against a system that has been created by political parties that is allowing what is happening now. When the rabbi asked me about the title of the talk, I said Immigration 101. Why? Well, let's talk about due process. A brilliant attorney at the ACLU a time ago told me, well, you know, due process is all this about, you know, getting an attorney, blah, blah, blah. But what people don't think about is due process at the end of the day is the process that is due in that specific context. Okay, let's talk about due process in immigration. You have the right to an attorney as long as you can pay for one. That's a system that has been created. It's a system that has been imposed constantly during different administrations. When I started working at the ACLU in 2017, and we were trying to get people out in bond in Hartford Immigration Court, which at that point you only have JFK Immigration Court and Hartford Immigration Court. Bond, the lowest amount of bond that an immigration judge can give you is $1,500, $1,500. That's sort of the lowest. In Hartford Immigration Court, we were seeing 25,000, 50,000, 40,000, 25,000. And somebody would be able to ask, is that legally doable? Well, if you don't codify, it is. If you leave gray areas, either by convenience or just by design, it is. I's posture has been always that I can be detained in Massachusetts and be shipped all the way to California for years, decades. We have one of our clients, Ramisa, the tough university student, was shipped to Louisiana, and we were able to bring her back. But that policy that allows ICE to go and ship different courts looking for convenience, the courts that are going to be more conservative, that has been happening for years. It's not something of now. We cannot and we should not keep doing the same things. Midterms are coming. Elections are coming. If we keep voting for people that had been sponsoring the system, for better or worse, This is not going to change. This is not going to change if we do not change how we are doing advocacy and how we are protesting. It's really simple. It's not enough to walk from point A to point B, babysit by the cops anymore, and after that go home. It's not enough. The ACLU has been fighting in courts and has been fighting in the street with community members and organizations trying to defend the rights of people. But the reality is that when you find so many convenient for a system like this one, gray areas, that there is a lot to litigate. For example, until one of my beloved colleagues, Dan McFadden, fought a case called Pereira-Brito. Do you know who was the burden of proof in immigration court? Who needed to show that was not a flight risk or a danger to the community in a bond hearing? The immigrant. So when we're talking about due process, we're talking about in criminal court, who has the burden of proof to show that the person being charged is a danger to the community and a flight risk? Who has that obligation? The prosecution. In immigration court until a couple of years ago was the immigrant, the one who have to show a negative, that I'm not a danger to the community, I'm not a flight risk. And I just want to say, this was before Trump. We need to realize that we are fighting, more than fighting one person, we're fighting a system. And between you and me, in this, really private thing without, cameras and all that, you start thinking that you're fighting a system and not people, it's a game changer. Because you start asking the right questions. You start putting your energy in things that are worth, because you are changing a system, a supremacist system that has been designed to tell you, this is a good, remarkable immigrant. This one is not remarkable. They just go, to the job in the morning, so it doesn't really matter, but the remarkable one. I don't want remarkable human beings, I want human beings. Right now, that tiny Guatemalan lady with 3 children, the only way that she may or may not gain any kind of immigration status is by being the victim of a crime, a U visa, right? Usually that crime, it's domestic violence. That's the system where we are. And that's the system that existed after September 11. That the system was created after September 11. What we're seeing now is just the system doing what it's designed to do. It's really healthy. How many of you have heard that the system is broken? Yes. Raise your hand. Yes. Okay. Let's make a pact. Is that okay? Yeah. So, I'm gonna tell you that the way to know if you're in front of somebody who knows what they are talking about, if a person tells you that the system is broken, walk away. Because that means that that person doesn't know what they are talking about. The system is extremely healthy. The system is doing what it's designed to do. And now, with the influx of the last budget, the federal budget is going to get even more healthier in steroids. They are going to add at least 10,000 agents. When they were talking about force multiplier, they was talking about ERO, Enforcement and Removal Operation, HSI, Homeland Security Investigation. But what we're seeing too, DEA, FBI, ATF agents in the streets, covering their faces, kidnapping people. For those interested, I'm originally from Chile, via also Buenos Aires, Argentina. 4,000 people detained, tortured, and disappear in Chile during a dictatorship fully funded and trained by the US. Argentina, over 35,000 people detained, tortured, and disappeared by a dictator fully funded and trained by the US. The last time that I was in Buenos Aires, I went to one of the museums that used to be one of the detention centers. The person giving the tour talked about this Ford Falcon car. It was sort of the staple of the dictatorship. And the Ford Falcon would go in the middle of the day, stop in a crowded place, targeting one person, and they would run away with that person. Is that similar to anything you are seeing right now? The way how ICE is conducting operations, the way how all the other federal enforcement agencies are deploying operations is not an accident. Doing enforcement at 12 noon, doing enforcement at 4 p.m. is not only about enforcement, it's a message. We can do it. And we can do it at any time.
So what should we do?
Somebody asked, what should we do? Vote your values. First of all, vote your values. Ask the hard questions. Stop passing municipal resolutions. Resolutions are meaningless. Pass ordinances protecting people. The ACLU has passed welcoming city and trust ordinances across the Commonwealth. So far, we can regulate everything that is optional communication between local police departments and federal agencies. And we're doing it. We know that the way how they are targeting and used to target immigrants was by regular traffic infractions, when the police officer intentionally would ask about immigration status, citizenship, or country of birth. If I run a red light, doesn't really matter my immigration status, but they did it anyway. I wonder why. I'm gonna ask you a favor. Let's stop talking about sanctuary. Sanctuary is not a thing. It's not a thing. And I'm gonna explain myself. Don't worry about it. Remember, first of all, the word sanctuary was revived by the Trump administration the first time, referring in a derogatory way to localities that were unwilling to cooperate with the federal government. Lawrence was one of the places here in Massachusetts, right? There is nothing at the local level or state level that we can pass to forbid law enforcement to come into town. There is nothing. For us, working with undocumented folks, with immigrants all around the community, people talking about sanctuary sends an extremely false sense of safety. Many times, we have done more than 100, no, you're right, with the ACLU, with immigrant community members. And many times they say, well, I live in this town, we are a sanctuary city, that means that ICE cannot come in. No, let's I know we care, but I also know that we, and I include myself, we suck into owning the narrative. We suck into owning definitions. I want you to live today owning the narrative, owning definitions. We are here for every immigrant, not just the remarkable ones. We are here because the next time that we're gonna vote our values, and we're gonna ask the hard questions, and we're gonna understand that it's gonna get a point that we're gonna have to say either this changes or we're not going back home. I want you to live here today. Please connect with those immigrant organizations, the ones that are being led by immigrants. I promise that any kind of question will find an answer within the immigrant movement. All this has to happen with immigrants leading the movement. Thank you so much.